And you can see the start. We're laughing, we're joking, and we're just doing what we normally do on the 5-Star Pod. And then there was one guest, and I can't remember who it was, so please forgive me, but it changed the way we were talking to them, and they kind of opened up a little bit. And them opening up then made me open up, and Joe open up, and Dave open up. So much so that, like, I was getting text messages from people, and they were saying, like, I've seen a different side to you. And I'm like, this isn't a different side. This is me. But I just didn't, not that I never felt comfortable with talking to about it on the internet. It's just that I never really had the platform or the time to do it.
Hello all, and welcome to the third episode of the Scouting Centre, a show designed for you to get to know your favourite Football Manager content creators. My name is Diz, aka Mr Diz83, and you can find me on Twitch, Twitter and YouTube. I'm so happy to have the guest we have today. He is one of the busiest people I know in the Football Manager scene. He is a full-time dad, a full-time husband, a full-time worker. On top of that, he's a part-time content creator. He's achieved something that all of us strive to achieve. He's a Twitch partner. He has over 6,000 Twitch followers. He's a founding member of the westreamfm movement, as well as a founding member of the 5-Star Potential podcast. He's currently doing the Red Star Paris Save on Twitch, which you'll find him doing Monday to Friday at 6:30. And like me, I'm sure you really enjoyed his commentary over on the Lowdown on the weekend just gone, because he's an integral part of the Streamer Showdown. He is the one, the only Doop. How are you, Doop?
Crikey, man, I'm going to use that. I want that clipped, and I think I want you. That's probably my favourite intro I've ever had. All we need now is like the music of me just walking down the ramp. Minor little WWE references. I watched my second ever pay-per-view last night. So, how we doing, man? Thank you for having me on.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on. I think your story is so important because so much of what you do, like you say, like you do a bit of everything, don't you? And the fact that you're still able to do create content, I think people really need to identify and then hear your story. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none. I think it's the phrase that comes to mind, mate.
Oh, come on, mate. You're better than that. Right. So, you know the show works. So we'll do a £500 million draft. We'll begin the draft. We'll pick 18 players. Really, the draft isn't important. It's just a backdrop for me to interview you and for the viewers to get to know you a little bit better. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem at all.
Excellent. So let's begin draft. So, Doop, I think the first question is, what got you into FM?
I think it was all the ladies, mate. It's a weird story, mate. My brother got me into it, to be honest. We always had a competitive string between myself and my brother. And basically, we got a copy of Football Manager, a demo in a box of cornflakes. I believe it was cornflakes, or it was a box of cereal, nonetheless. I think it was 0304, and haven't really looked back since, to be honest. My brother picked it up, he started playing with it, and then I kind of started being his assistant manager. Then we worked through to the case of me then being kind of running with it and being my own manager, but you could only do like 6 months at a time. So probably why I really enjoy doing my squad building. And I just ran with it then. I then went and started picking up more paper rounds so I could afford a new PC so I could play it in the room, because we only had the one downstairs. I mean, I don't think kids will know about this nowadays, but we had a communal computer downstairs in the family, and if somebody else was on it, you couldn't use it. I didn't have an iPad. I didn't have a laptop. It just wasn't a thing then. So I had to find a way around it, and that was my way around it. So I went and did a good 6 or 7 months, just earning as much money as I can. Every ounce, every penny that came into my hand went straight into the PC fund. And then my obsession grew to the point where I remember just bought my new house with my wife, and one of the first weekends there, I'm in a suit at 2 a.m. on my own, celebrating a Johnson Cent Trophy or whatever it's called back in the day with Swindon Town. It seems very strange when it's just you. You know, like when you do it on stream and there's other people,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem that weird. I mean, it's weird, but it doesn't seem that weird. When there's no one else around watching, it's pretty strange in my opinion. But hey, it's great fun. Like I said, I haven't really looked back since. It's been Football Manager is day in, day out, and when you start making content on it, like that's all you think about. That's all you kind of concentrate on, and you're working out what happens and what you can do with your content.
It sounds like you were content creating before you were actually content creating.
Yeah. So one of the big things I love to do, and I think this is probably because we only had 6 months that you could play because of the fact that there was a demo at the start, was I used to write out all of my squads and go through a season, or was the 6 months, and have books and books and books of where I've wrote like the first 11 down in a squad list, and then I've wrote the tactic that we're going to play. And it was basically, my old man used to manage a men's football team, and this is what he used to do. He used to come home on a Wednesday night after training. He used to sit there, he used to write out the team, he used to then contact all the players. And I think like from a young age, I saw this and I took an interest in it. And I took an interest in the management side of football, because I used to go and watch my dad's team on a Saturday. I used to go with them. I was literally like their little water boy. They're probably like 11 and 12. And I just fell in love with like the managerial side. And yeah, that's kind of what led me to then look at filling out all these squads. So you're right, yeah, like almost a blog style. I have tried to find them because I think they would be absolutely brilliant bit of content to put out, but unfortunately, I think my mum may have thrown them away. But yeah, it's incredible what such a game can do. And I had no idea there was a community out there. There must have been a community. Well, yeah, I think the blogging scene, or at least the forum scene, was about when I first picked the game up. So I was just a little bit ahead of my time for my age, I believe.
100%. And my next question is, what inspired you to become a content creator, to take that formal step into it?
So actually, it's one of your previous guests, and I do feel sorry for him. So it's going to kind of show how old he is. No, I'm joking. Second Yellow Card. I used to watch Second Yellow Card. I remember watching one of his YouTube videos, or his series, of where he was manager of AFC Wimbledon, and that made me want to manage AFC Wimbledon. And I got invested in the save. I was watching his videos, and it like I said, it just made me want to play. And then I started watching streams and thought, hang on, I could do this. You know, this is something that I could do. I can talk the hind legs of a donkey. This could be a really good platform. So I started making some YouTube videos. And it was very tough. It was very, very tough. I didn't have the correct equipment. I was doing it off a MacBook Pro with a really, really shoddy mic, and you could tell. It wasn't the quality that you may see on Twitch and YouTube that people start with now. But one thing I did do was I absolutely loved every minute of it. Absolutely every minute of it. I enjoyed the content creation of it. I enjoyed the minimal editing that I did do, but most of all, the kind of community feel and speaking to and chatting to people that were like-minded were just tremendous. Because at the time, I just assumed I was the only one. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, it was phenomenal.
Does Matt know that?
Yeah, me and Matt have spoken about it before. They say never meet your heroes, but I did. To be fair, like again, it kind of led me on to. I was watching Matt. I was watching Ben's Salford story. He did a bit of Work the Space, and it's very strange to kind of sit back and look at where it all started. And kind of I was watching these guys, and now I'm making content, i.e. the Streamer Showdown with them. It's really strange sometimes when you think about it.
It's crazy. And how long has that journey taken you?
Oh, so that was so it was just before my first child was born. I was making content in the spare room of the house. It's been pretty well known throughout my journey of on Twitch that I haven't really had like the room that I'm in now. I used to stream back in the day by the side of my bed. So I'd be sat here, for example, and my wife was asleep beside me because it was the only space we had.
Yeah.
I was streaming from under the stairs. It's all these little things that kind of, I never had a man cave like I've got now, so to speak. And it was just kind of whatever you could do. So at the start, I had a man cave. I had to spare room, and then my son was born, and I got kicked out. And that made things very tough. I mean, even when I first started streaming, I even made a little setup up in the attic.
Yeah.
I put like a fan next to the hatch, and I was going down the ladder to get up and down, and it was very different to what I'm used to now. But yeah, that's when it first started, and I remember doing a few videos back, like I said, back in the day, and then I kind of stopped making videos and started streaming, and I think that's kind of where it all changed for me, to be fair.
And when you say changed, what do you mean?
I mean, I was enjoying the YouTube videos, don't get me wrong, but I didn't like the delay of interaction. So for me, I find that I can sit here and I can make videos, and I'm happy to do them, but I don't think it's where I'm best suited. I think when I can bounce off people that are in the chat, or I can bounce off people that I'm working with, that instant interaction really helps me improve what I do, and I think that shows my better side.
It sounds like it's a lot of dedication to create content.
Yeah, I think it's I think I had to want to do it, because it was very easy at a lot of the times to kind of use the excuse of, well, it's just too difficult. I can't make content anymore, or I need to give it up. But yeah, I've had challenges. I've had some challenging time in my life during the kind of the whole content creation time. But it's all sent to test us, right?
Yeah. What steps did you take to prepare to content create and to get onto Twitch?
I think I did a bit of research. Like I said, I was watching a few streamers. There's a guy called Gills Minnow, a chap that I used to watch quite a bit, and he really kind of opened my eyes to Twitch. And then I was a big fan of a game called DayZ. And I used to watch a guy called, or I still do, to be fair. I think I've got like a 52-month active sub in his channel, a guy called Running Man. And I was just I remember sitting in the stream and just soaking it in. And he's one that's very much talking to people and explaining how he's got from where he was to what he does now, and the steps that he's taken. And I remember just trying to soak up as much as I could. I knew I was very lucky to have Nerdphonic close to me from quite an early start of my content creation. So I had a lot of time to kind of bounce technical issues off him. I also kind of went through the process with Curty, with Teach, with Dave, and this that helps. We instead of trying to battle these challenges on your own, you had that backup of the boys being there, and you could drop in one of our group chats and be like, oh, I've got this idea for a save. What do you think? Or would you think this is the right thing to do? Or how should I attack this? And or my microphone's not working and I need to buy a new one. What do you recommend? And it was just so good to have such a brilliant support network from such an early day in the content creation. And that was just by pure chance and luck that we kind of started chatting to each other, and it's crazy to look back to where that started to where we are now.
And I think that's a perfect segue into a question I had further on down the line. But how did westreamfm, because I think the people you're talking about are part of the westreamfm movement, which is a popular group within the Football Manager community. How did that then eventually come about?
Yeah, so that was kind of the start of something, in my eyes, truly, brilliant. We had myself and Teach doing a network save, and we had a Discord of a network save, and we picked up this viewer, and he started chatting to us and giving us a bit of support and a bit of advice. And was like, I've seen, I've been around the block a little bit in content creation, kind of the word format. That for a while, I recommend you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. And I remember being on a call with Teach one afternoon. I'm like, this guy knows his stuff. we need to grab him in and we need to make sure that we use him to our his full potential, because I mean, this guy could really help us and support us. So we kind of jumped in a call, and it turns out to be Friday Night FM. And we're just like, right, well, what can we do? And we're like, well, let's change this Discord to a more generic one. Let's get the brand. Let's get everybody invested. Let's get a group. Let's get some more guys in. And what we'll do is instead of one person growing, we'll grow everybody together, and we'll support everybody the way that we've been doing, but more of a kind of a defined system of us. Well, not system, but more of a defined method of doing that. So that's when we got Curty, Dave, and Nerd involved. They were involved, to be fair, very, very early on, and things just seemed to just explode from there. And then we started the podcast, and again, everything just blew up again. And the one thing we had again, which really helped us, was that we had Nerdphonic with us. That Nerd, I don't know if you know Nerd, and Nerd would be a great guy to come on this, but he is a perfectionist. If you work with Matt, it makes you really want to up your game. So much so that, like, it's cost me a fortune, but I'll be sat and I'll be like, Matt, I'm not happy about this, and he goes, well, if you're not happy, change it. Yeah. I'm not, the mic quality is not great, change it, get a different one. Okay, well, what do you recommend? I recommend this, do this and do that. And he really, really did. I mean, you can see it from the showdown, the work, and I know we'll talk about that shortly, but you can see just how much he does and how much he can drive somebody to do better just because him being involved. And like I said, he is a perfectionist and he's brilliant at what he does. And again, I couldn't have asked for an original six that started Restream FM. I mean, I've met up with all of them. I've gone across the country with all of them. I've gone across the world. I've gone to San Francisco with Teach and Curty. I've gone to Berlin with them as well. You know, me and Dave have gone to watch the football. So this is more than, you know, I speak to these guys more than I speak to, you know, people that I live down the road from. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy to think that, I know they talk about the where we are now with the internet friends, etc., and I cannot find this player, by the way. I'm struggling. The internet friends and stuff, but like, I genuinely speak to these guys every single day, and we watch the football together over Discord, and I'll be on, you know, texting and stuff like it. It's, you know, they've become my closest mates, all by absolute chance of just catching each other in a Discord call.
And it goes to show the power of Football Manager in the community, the fact that you can have best mates who you've created something with, created content with, gone as far as being massive parts of the streamer showdown with, gone on holidays with, all from the love of a game. Yeah.
And it's literally just been that, right? We've got a couple of things in common. One being that we all love Football Manager, and two being that we thrive for greatness. Yeah. And I feel that having one of them and not the other would probably hamper the success. But we all push each other. You know, we've had people come, we've had people go, and you know, that doesn't change our relationship at all. But what it does do is it really just highlights the fact of how strong the group is, and you know, how truly amazing they all are. I would never be where I am now without them. Without them lot, they are the main reason why. Their support is the main reason why I am even close to being where I am. Why I'm a Twitch partner. You know, why I'm getting involved in the sort of events that I'm getting involved in is because of these guys, these groups, and let's be honest, my mates.
That's great to hear. So with your mates, was the intention always to do the 5-Star Potential podcast, or is that something that just came about?
To be fair, it's something that I always pushed for from the start, was that we want to do a pod. Let's do a pod of some sort. We've got these great minds that are sat there, and me. And I'm like, come on, we can do so much with this. And to be fair, they all jumped at it, and they're like, yeah, let's just do something. It took a couple of weeks. We used to do it live at the start. Yeah. So we used to do a live podcast, and we very quickly jumped away from that because the quality wasn't as good as what we wanted. Again, many people, and I probably back in the without these guys, I would have thought, yeah, that's good enough, that's brilliant. But you know, again, thriving for the greatness, we've gone, no, we can't do it like that. Let's do it like this. And we are on pod episode number. Oh wow, what are we recording tonight? Pod episode number 100 and I think it's 70, 180.
Yeah.
And that's a weekly podcast. We've not missed a week since. We've had some incredible guests on there, and we've had some absolute great laughs. And I love going back and listening to the old ones. That's one of my guilty pleasures. I'm a big podcast listener, and it's difficult listening to your own voice. I'm not going to lie, but when you become a content creator, and you all know now that you have to kind of get used to listening to your own voice, because everything you do, you have to edit something, or you have to hear your own voice. But yeah, it's good fun, and I love the podcast. It's one of my proudest things to be involved in. I get people coming into my stream like, I listen to the pod. I get tweets about it constantly. It's something that it is. Let's be honest. We get together and we talk about it an hour a week. It doesn't take an hour. It takes 4 or 5 because we sit there and we chat. But the podcast itself is just us mates just getting together. And one thing I will say is during this lockdown and that, it's brilliant that it's an excuse to get together. That's something I think is really good, because I think a lot of people nowadays, are very quick not to get together and not to check on your mates and speak to them. But that's one thing that, we've had the joys that we can do, is that we do get together once a week, and we do then sit and talk and chat and make sure that is a thing, which is great.
Well, I think one of the key things I've noticed as well was you were doing the podcast, I think it was lockdown 2, where you did one a day for 30 days.
Wow.
And so it goes to show that you're not just talking with your mates, you were then branching out and getting other people involved in your content to check in on them as well.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Not because it's difficult to do daily content, because it is difficult to do daily content, but it's not that difficult. You can do it. You can do it. It's quite straightforward. The thing that was the hardest thing was it was emotionally draining. I'm a bit of I like to think I'm a bit of a man's man, right? Which is obviously not a phrase we use that often anymore, but I like to think that I'm big, I'm tough, I'm like, I'm all good. Recently I've been going through I went through a bit of tough time with the birth of my second child, which mentally changed the way I think about mental health and things that could affect you going forward. And it really, I think, I don't know if anyone has watched them, and if you do want to watch them, you can do. I mean, I'm going to do a plug here. Sorry, they're on the westreamfm YouTube channel. It's a mental health podcast. Was what we were going for. It was a check with your mates, see how they are. Let's not have that separation or that difference during the lockdown. And you can see the start. We're laughing, we're joking, and we're just doing what we normally do on the 5-Star Pod. And then there was one guest, and I can't remember who it was, so please forgive me, but it changed the way we were talking to them, and they kind of opened up a little bit. And them opening up then made me open up, and Joe open up, and Dave open up. So much so that I was getting text messages from people, and they were saying like, I've seen a different side to you. And I'm like, this isn't a different side. This is me. But I just didn't, not that I never felt comfortable with talking to about it on the internet. It's just that I never really had the platform or the time to do it. And this is a kind of a point where I was like, wow, yeah, no, this is me, and this is real. This is what I've been going through. And it's amazing to kind of speak to different people about the same sort of thing, because I think mental health is something that, I mean, people do really not pay as much attention to as possible as it should be. And I'm guilty for that in the past, but now it's really opened my eyes, and it's something that has highlighted it to me that I don't think I'll ever kind of skip a beat on nowadays, because it's crazy what it can do to you.
100%, I agree with that. And I think with the FM community, I know for a fact it's been something that's helped me with my mental health. The fact that you had a wider platform with your podcast to get people on, I have no doubt that would have helped a number of people within the community.
Yeah, to be fair, again, I don't like to blow smoke, but we got a lot of messages thanking us, a lot of messages saying it helped. And I always said we weren't really doing it to help anybody apart from the guys that we were getting on. We wanted to kind of check in. But one thing, if we had one message, and like I said, they were in abundance, but if we had one message, it means our job was good. It means we did good. You know, if it made one person feel a little bit better in what was quite a bleak time, and unfortunately we still are in a bleak time, but that to me was just it just put a smile on my face.
Thank you for being so open about your mental health. And I imagine it's something that we'll talk about in a bit. In relation to your name, Doop, where did that come from?
Do you know, I get this a lot. I get this question a lot, like in stream and stuff. And I swear every time I answer it, I give a different answer. So I'm going to try and give you the best answer that I vaguely remember. It was a long time ago. So where I'm from, the phrase dupe is kind of to dupe somebody is to take the piss, to prank them, to wind them up. And I feel that's something that I'm quite good at.
Yeah.
So there was a kind of a phase at school where one of the lads used to call me Fat Man Doop because of Fat Man Scoop, right?
Yeah.
And that then just went, well, there you go, there's the name. So they used to call me, like, not Doop as such, but it used to get referenced to me. And then I was just like, well, I'm going to run with this. So I remember jumping into a Twitch stream, or I think it might even be Twitter, and I'm like, well, it's asking me for a name, and I'm like, I just put my real name in. I was like, I don't want to do that, and I'm just like, well, what do I do? And I'm bang, it just went, there you go, let's use that. So I've gone from Fat Man Doop to FM Doop, to Doop FM, back to FM Doop, and then on Twitch I'm now just Doop. It's one of the best things about being a partner. You don't get many perks apart from the disgusting purple tick that you get to just flaunt around left, right, and center. But you have the ability to be able to maybe get some names that you couldn't get without being a partner. And that was one thing. I just reached out to them. I was like, look, I'd love to get just the four letters Doop, and they're like, yeah, we'll sort that out. I was like, amazing.
But I was surprised when I saw one of your original podcasts, one of your first ones, and I saw Fat Man Doop.
Yeah, Fat Man Doop used to be the name.
So fair play. So that's where the name came from. You started streaming in May 2016, based on what I've seen, and you did it for 5 months until September 2016 before you took a 6-month break, and then you started in May 2017, and then you've continued since. Why? What was the reason for the gap?
So it was kind of. Again, like I said to you, I had just had the child. Well, I hadn't had the child. The wife had. We just had the child, and it was kind of getting to the point where it needed more of my time. And I was streaming. I was enjoying it, but it was difficult to stream because I couldn't just stop and go and support. So I stopped streaming and started making YouTube videos again. Yeah. And I did about a month or so, and I don't enjoy this as much as I enjoy streaming. So I just said to her, I'm just gonna walk away. I'm done. That's me. It clearly doesn't work for me. If I pick it up in the future, I pick it up in the future. And then I kind of decided, no, actually, after watching these people do it, and because I didn't ever leave the community, I was kind of just always there, always in the stream, or always watching something. I was like, no, I've got to come back. I've got to do it again. So this is where the kind of the birth of the westreamfm and then the Twitch stream with Teach was that we kind of come together and we're like, let's do a network save. And going forward, doing the network save, then, like I said, I haven't looked back since.
You talk about, and you've been quite open about this, so, forgive me if it's something that I can't speak about, but you talk about the birth of your child, and am I correct in saying he was premature?
Yeah, so my second child was 8.5, 9 weeks premature. He was incredible. It was a surprise to us. We didn't know, there was no early signs of anything. I was actually in Manchester watching Man United versus Brighton, which we lost. I know it was Palace, which again I think we lost anyway. Yeah. And I just remember driving home, and the wife was like, I just don't feel great. I was like, okay, well, get yourself at the hospital and I'll be there as soon as I can. I got back at home, and I literally was just phoned to say, you need to grab a bag as you go 1-0 up. You need to grab a bag and get up here, basically. I said, okay, no problem. So I kind of didn't really think much of it. I got up there, and as I walked through like the delivery part of the hospital, there was just a lady stood there with some scrubs. And I kind of walked into the scrubs. They took the bags, and then away we kind of went. And then we had an emergency C-section. He came out. He was all right. And then it just took a bit of a turn, and he stopped breathing, and they had to do a bit of work on him. And like, I just saw so much stuff I didn't want to see. And it just closed me up. Like as a book, I just closed, and I knew it was my time to be strong for my wife and my other boy and my family. And the only person that could get me out of this was kind of just being me and being strong and locking it all down. So that happened. I think it was about 1:30 a.m. And I then went to work the next day and just kind of got on with everything. And my wife was in hospital. My little boy was in hospital. He was hooked up in the SCABU section, and he was there for about 12 days, I believe. And it was one of the worst times of my life. I would never wish that on anyone. And it got to the point where when you're in SCABU, and I don't know if you've ever had friends or you've been in there yourself, you have to do like a load of tasks to get out of SCABU, right? So much so that they do CPR. You have to do a course or a class on CPR for children. And they asked me to kind of come forward and do this CPR. And I'm like, 10 days ago, I've just witnessed you do it on my son. I can't go through this, And I just remember being in this hospital and just breaking down. And I think that was the moment where it kind of opened up to kind of let me get involved in that again and kind of and feel that that emotion that I went through, because it's amazing how when you feel that you can be tough and you can be strong, that actually showing weakness really, really does help you. I always felt that you need to be up there, you need to be strong, but actually that little, I think once you know how bad it is at the bottom, is the only way is up, right? Yeah. So for me, it was like really strange, but what a sense of relief that I could just go, okay, right, this is out of my control now. I need to kind of get this sorted. And again, the first thing I did is not reach for doctors or therapists. It was to talk to the boys, the westreamfm boys, and they kind of come through the journey with me. And then we did some charity events for it. And touch wood, my little boy's out of hospital. He's doing fantastic, and we're planning his second birthday in August.
That's great to hear, to be fair. And I guess when it comes to being, you've used terms that are strong and weak and stuff, I think it comes back to what the definition of that is nowadays when it comes to mental health. And I think strength is actually confronting what you're going through, which is what you kind of did eventually, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the only way you can, it's difficult, isn't it? And I think a lot of people have different perceptions of being strong and being weak. I don't think showing weakness is being weak. I think at times the strongest thing anyone can ever do is be open and ask for help. I think, in fact, trying to be strong and trying to close up did me absolutely no good whatsoever. So showing weakness, like I said, doesn't always mean that there is weakness. It just means that you're strong enough to ask for help.
And it's great that you've come through, and it's great that your little boy is doing well now, to be fair. So that is absolute great news. And like you say, that's changed you now, hasn't it, as a content creator or as a human being going forward?
Yeah, I think, like I said, we did a lot with the mental health podcast, and it gave me a platform to kind of explain and tell the story. It's something at the time I don't think I could have done it. I think a year ago, if you asked me that same question, I probably would have just said, look, actually, can we edit that out? Can we not talk about it? Because I just wasn't in a place. I feel that sharing the information and sharing it about, all it does is it shows that it's okay at times not to be okay. And a lot of people see me on the internet, see me do what I do, and with the showdown or the lowdown and my content I do and the podcast, that I'm normally the one that makes the jokes. I'm normally the one that has a laugh and a joke. But I 9 times out of 10, I use that as a defense mechanism, right? So if I feel uncomfortable or in real life, and I feel that I have to try and do something to make me laugh, because I really do think that if you don't laugh at times, you're going to cry. So for me, I was deeply focused on being the strong unit for my wife, because at the time, we needed that. But it's good. Me and my wife talk about it more than ever. And again, I think going back, I don't know whether because of getting a little bit older and the maturity, maybe that's changed and that's kind of supported that. But I genuinely feel that the conversation I had with the chaps at Westream FM has really helped the development of that.
No, that's good to hear. That's great to hear that you had that support network. I just want to highlight that you just called yourself mature.
Yeah, which kind of really contradicts any content that you watch of mine. Maybe I need to, I don't know. Can we talk about boobies next to kind of show my immaturity? Is that all right? I'm more concerned I'm 2-0 down. Crikey.
The draft isn't important.
It is.
For you, it is, because obviously you were on the show. I mean, we'll just call this Showdown Part 2.
Yeah.
Right. We'll go to your content creations now. Did you have an idea of how you wanted your stream style to be, or is it something you developed over a period of time?
It's something you develop, and it's something that you steal. To be honest, you watch other people's and you go, "That's cool. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that." Obviously, original ideas are always best, and I'm happy to put my hands up saying that. You look at my stream and I go for quite a basic look. I like a basic look. I don't like the overlays. For me, I don't like them. I think for me, the gameplay should be what people are looking for. My gameplay and me.
Yeah.
I don't want to divert people's eyes to a ticker bar, which I used to have. I did it. I used to have it. But for me, I just my whole stream kind of ethos and the way that I look at the streaming now is, let's have a good time. Let's just be chill. I always like to think that I've got a chilled stream. It's never kind of, we do hype up when there's big games and stuff like that. But it's to be able to do with all that I do real life with work and with the kids. Feel that I couldn't come on and be 100 miles an hour. We go on massive tangents like we do here. I mean, this is just a snippet, right? Yeah. We could be talking about XG and we then move on and we're talking about, I don't know, me growing up and stuff. And I'm more than happy to do that. It's something that I think it feels, I would say it feels more natural, right? And I want to make it feel that we're just sat in a group having a chat, and I like to be as interactive as I can with the chat, with the people that are there watching, because I think that with Football Manager can be quite samey throughout, right? You can go from stream to stream, and let's be honest, you're playing the same game. So you've got to make it that people want to come and see you. And at the end of the day, I think 9 times out of 10, in my eyes, a good content creator could put full screen with nothing behind and have a chat and still hold the audience to where they need them and where they would like them.
I think one of the things you just said at the start of that was you steal it or from other content creators. I've noticed that you've always been so helpful in relation to, this is how I do this, this is how this is how I do this.
I'm very open about it,
Exactly.
If somebody comes in my stream and they're like, which has happened, and they're like, "Oh, you use a rounded cam. How'd you do that?" Sweet, let me show you. Yeah. Because let's be honest, it's anyone can do anything that they want. You know what I mean? I don't claim to look at what is going on there. I don't claim to be the one that was the first ever person that did that. No. I saw somebody else do that. I'm going to use that. That's a great idea. It looks clean as you like. There's times where I've driven to people's houses and set their streaming PC up.
Really?
Yeah, I don't talk about it. I actually asked not to put it on Twitter. It's not something that I do to kind of get a pat on the back or go, "Oh, this guy's nice. This guy's helpful." Mm-hmm. I've been talking to a guy for a while. He'd been he's been a viewer of my chat for a while. He messaged me and said, "I want to get a PC. What do you recommend?" I kind of gave him a few recommendations, and then he was struggling. So I said, "Oh, I've got to go and pick my in-laws up from the airport. Do you want me to pop in on the way through and see what I can do?" And we spent an afternoon with a coffee and and got things set up for him. Do you know what I mean? And again, that's not something that I like to broadcast across the world, but that's one of many occasions that stuff's happened like that, you know, because I'm not that I'm here to help people all the time, but I am more than happy to help people because, like I said to you, and I explained, I would never have got anywhere where I am now without people helping me. So the least that I can do is help others achieve what they want to achieve.
But I want you to know that your ethos has kind of rubbed off on me, for instance. I say to Mrs. D when I'm talking about streams, as soon as you put something out there, it's no longer a secret.
Yeah.
So as soon as you do anything that you might think is innovative, it's innovative for that one time, that first time that you do it. After that, it's only a matter of time. So I'd rather help people and let them know how I got my journey there than not. And I've got that from you, basically, because like you say, well, you've been helped, I've been helped as well. And ultimately, it's about giving back a little bit as well, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I always look down the fact that somebody's helped me, so it would be wrong to shut up shop and not help them. I feel that if I would have come, you know, I understand people that start new things. They would come from nothing. They would have a look. They would build it. They would get it to how they want without looking at a YouTube video, without asking for help, and they would have worked it out themselves. And fair play, it's tough. Setting up the stream stuff can be quite confusing. It can be fiddly. You can get one thing wrong and it doesn't work. So fair play. But 9 times out of 10, especially when you're new to a community, the best thing to do, instead of sitting there struggling, just ask. 9 times out of 10, even more than that, doesn't matter how big people are, they will help you. And if you're coming into streaming and you're like, oh, I really, like I said, for example, the rounded cam, just drop me a message. Oh, how'd you do that? There you go. This is how you do it. Or how'd you set up OBS? I might not sit in a call with you for 4 hours and set it up for you. Yeah. I might point you in the right direction. So you got any questions, let me know. But what I'll do is I'll point you somewhere that is beneficial to you and not having to then scroll through articles or videos and try and find the right one. A lot of the time, a lot of this stuff you do is self-taught or is via YouTube or others. So the best thing to do is to keep the library moving and just keep passing the information on.
100%. And that YouTube thing is key because everything, pretty much 95% of things that I've found has always been on YouTube.
Yeah. There's some brilliant guys out there. Harris Heller's one of them.
Yeah.
If you thought about it, he's thought about it before you, and he's put a video out there. So yeah, there's loads of people out there that will help.
And then after all that hard work on your streams, on your streaming, getting a style, how great did it feel to eventually get partnership? I think it was in June 2018.
Yeah, it was very strange. So what happened was I put in for partner the year before. Did I? No, I put in partnership in about June 18 time, and I got declined.
Yeah.
All the numbers were there, everything was there. It took a while to come back, and it was very weird that I got declined. I spoke to a few people in the industry, and they were like, just put your head down and keep going. And it annoyed me a little bit. I'd been working for it, and for me, it was always something that I'd always dreamed of. It was never going to be a thing, to be fair, but it was just very frustrating that I'd pushed as hard as I'd pushed, and yet I still failed, and I still fell short. So it kicked me back. It did kick me back a little bit, and I remember speaking to the teacher at the time, and I'm just like, I don't understand. I don't see what's happened. He's like, well, just like I said, put your head down, keep going, and just see what can happen. And then we were just going to head over to Berlin, and that would have been because that would have been early 19. Head over to TwitchCon Berlin, and I remember just getting a phone call and from Teach just being like, just been on your channel and nothing's really working. I'm like, oh, okay. So I got my emails open, and I had an email from Twitch, and they were like, we've just reviewed some previous partnership applications. We believe you should have been partnered. We're partnering you. And I'm like, what? And they were like, we'll review it again in the future and make sure that we have made the right decision. But yeah, we're going to partner you. And I'm like, what? It was like, what's happening here? And I remember seeking this guy out over at TwitchCon when we were there, and I was like, talk to me. What is this? What's happened? And he was like, look, we think that we might have messed up, so we've sorted it. You've now got the partnership. And it was weird because I didn't have the momentum behind me. We wanted to celebrate that back in the day when we first put the application in, but I believe it took about 6 months from the first application to being rejected to then them going, yeah, actually, no, we probably should have partnered you there.
Oh, blooming heck. How did that affect you then? If when you, in those 6 months, I know you say that you spoke to Teach and you were a little bit down about it. Did you continue to create content?
Yeah, I created content, but there was definitely I think there was definitely a feeling of that I'd failed, and I felt that was my chance. And I felt that we had the momentum. I'd done everything that I'd planned, and I felt that I should have been partnered. Simple as that. And it did affect me. But it was just one of them things, right? Yes. What can you do? It's completely out of your hands. And instead of getting my head down and keep pushing, I think I slipped a little bit off the bandwagon. But it's one of those things that I love being a partner. It doesn't really change a huge amount. The only thing it does is you go into like Lando Norris's stream, and when you say hello, he sees the tick, and you get a little shout out. But apart from that, I mean, you get affiliate now is so good, and it's very in line with partnership now. So I think it's brilliant what they do for affiliates, to be fair.
When you started streaming, was it always a goal to become a partner, or was it just a case of whilst you were streaming, you realized you could become a partner?
I think for me, I mean, when me and Teach started doing the network save, affiliate wasn't even a thing. So we didn't, the only way you could get a sub button, and the only way you could get emotes, and the only way that people could drop a sub was by being a partner.
Oh.
So it felt so far away and so almost impossible to get. It felt like an impossible task that you're never going to get partnered, and then the affiliate scheme came into place, and that really kind of went, well, actually, I could see how this could work, and I could see the progression you could push with it. And then I remember Teach getting partnered, and I went, well, okay, this is now serious. I can do this. And me and Teach got into it together, and I always say that even to this day, I don't speak to Teach as much as I would like to speak to Teach, mainly because of my change in job now. So I used to speak to Teach a lot at work, and then we'd do content in the evening. He left westreamfm. He stopped playing Football Manager. I believe he's still doing his iRace and stuff, but it was very, very much felt like we started that together and we wanted to finish it together. And I remember almost being, Teach wouldn't let me slip up. Teach wouldn't let me drop a ball. He was like, well, come on, I'm now partnered. It's now your turn. We've got to push for you. And a lot of the partnership was supported and driven by Teach. And I've got a lot to thank Teach for my content creation. And I say this, I still to this day, he is so close to my heart as a friend, and I could pick the phone up now and I could ring him, and I would know that he would answer. And I haven't spoke to him for a few weeks, months maybe, and I know that it wouldn't feel weird with Teach, and we would just chat as normal. And that's something that's very difficult to get. And I know that if something was down or something had a problem, he would be one of the first on my list to call, because he's such a gent. He's such a nice guy, and I know that he'll be able to support whatever I need to do. And that for me I was very fortunate to have Teachers. I would say Teachers' work rate and determination with content creation really rubbed off on me. I introduced him to streaming, and we got the network save, and I think that the network saves were my favorite times on Twitch. Don't get me wrong, I love my Palermo save, I love my Forest Green, but for me it's always been network saves, and my channel was born on network saves, and it's something that I genuinely do miss. I'd love to be doing a network save right now.
it sounds to me like you never forget people who've helped you. You've never forget people, and it sounds like you will always be there in return, no matter how far distance takes you.
Yeah, I'd say that I don't forget what people have done for me, and I appreciate what people have done. I hate it in real life or on the internet of people that, you know, you've got to look after the people that helped you on the way up, because they'll be the guys that'll be there on the way down, you know, and you need to have that support network and that team. Otherwise, it can be a lonely place.
Yeah. So you've kind of hinted there then. What's been your favorite save on Football Manager as a content creator?
I think, as much as I sit here and say I love network saves, etc., but I think my Palermo save was my favorite, which was last year. We took Palermo from Serie D all the way up to Serie A, then onto winning the league, and then on to winning the Champions League. On the crescendo of the save, on the final chance I had, we lifted the Champions League for Palermo, and that was an amazing save. We have a signed shirt by Palermo here to my right, and I'll never forget Palermo save. And people still reference it now. The Forest Green save was really good. However, I think I ended that a little bit early. I think I should have carried on, because we had a position in the Palermo save that we could have ended it. And it was kind of like, well, FM21's coming out soon. I kind of want to just take a week or so off and a break. And it was the chat, to be fair. They were like, well, just go. Let's get it done. Let's crack on. You can still win this. And I was like, okay, we'll do one more season. And then that season was the one that we won. And that was 16, 17 seasons in total. You know, it's a proper rag to riches. It was a very tough save. And it feels very much like the start of the Red Star save. You know, we're up against it. It's not an easy save to do. But I like to challenge myself, you know.
Yeah. What have you found most difficult about streaming?
The streaming life balance. I'm internally grateful for my wife. She doesn't let me do what I do. I do what I want to do, but she supports me massively. One thing I will say is that content creators that don't have the support of their partner, their family, I take my hat off to you, and if you manage to still do it, because I wouldn't be able to do what I do without my wife. If my wife wasn't here, or my wife wasn't as supportive as she was, let's say, you wouldn't see me 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week, because I get in from work, I sit with the kids for half an hour, I then come up here, I start streaming. My wife gives them the tea, she puts them to bed, she then sits there, she might work then in the evening, and she solely dictates the fact that I stream. Like I said, I may sit here and stream, but a lot of the work is done by her, and without her, we wouldn't be having this conversation. To be fair, mate, like she is incredible, my wife, and I know a lot of people say the same thing, but honest to God, I am internally grateful for what she does. She's done an awesome job as well. You know, my boys are tremendous, and at times she must feel a little bit like a single parent, but she is truly immense.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because so much of our time is spent creating content, and I imagine your time is even more stretched, because with your FM Streamer Showdown, We Stream FM, 5-Star Potential Podcast, full-time job, then your Twitch streams as well, and then on top of that, part of the introduction, full-time husband, full-time dad. You're spread really thin, aren't you?
Good job as a lot of me, right? Yeah, no, you're right, and you are, and you always want to make sure that, or you always think that you want to make sure that it's quality over quantity, right? Yeah. I don't produce a huge amount of content. We're only alive for a couple to 3 hours a day. I mean, that sounds a lot in to be honest, but yeah, the one thing, if you want to do what I do, and try and balance everything, you've almost got to say goodbye to sleep. I'm quite lucky. I can run really well off literally no sleep, as you can see now. I've come off for 2 hours sleep over last night. I was up till 4, up at I think it was just after 6 I got up with the kids. The night before with the streamer showdown, I'd finished at 3 after we had chatted and watched the ice hockey. I'm then back up again at 7 o'clock. You know, it's one of those things I will say I'm very lucky is that I don't need to sleep, or I think I don't need to sleep.
Yeah.
But it is tough, and that something's got to give. You can't do everything. There's not enough hours in the day if you want to get your 8 hours sleep. So the only way that I can get away with that is by having a late night or 2 or 3 or 4.
Or 4. 4 in a row. Thank God for the day off today.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to talk about something that's absolutely huge in our community at the minute, and we've just come off the back of it, the streamer showdown. How did you get about getting involved in the streamer showdown?
So to start with, the first season, I was a viewer. You know, I watched it. Then we had some guys from westreamfm, Curtie and Herb were involved, and it was great to watch. You know, we supported in the background where we could, but I really was not involved at all. But it was season 2. I was asked to do analysis and punditry on the what is now the lowdown, and that was myself, Joe, Dave, Viking Dan. Yeah, that was the 5 of us, and we were the first kind of iteration of the lowdown that is now. And I did that for 2 seasons, and then I got asked to be on the showdown, and which I did. I went on it, and it was good fun. It was tough, and it's intense. You've got to be ready for it. If you ever get a shot, you've got to be ready for it. There's no such thing as too much prep.
Yeah.
And I decided to bring something a little bit different. I don't know if you've seen this, but I used to do intros into my streamer showdown.
I haven't seen it, no.
Okay, I have to send you the video. It's tremendous. So I used to have a green screen, and I'd turn the lights out, I'd smoke machine it, I'd get the music on up.
I saw it on Twitter the other day.
Yeah, I'd get the strobe lights on, and I got the masks on, and then I'd go and lose every fucking game. You know what I mean? It would have worked really well if you then went on and won the league or won something. But no, I didn't. I would say I'm very good at the drafting side of the game.
Yeah. But
when it comes to PvP, so to speak, a man versus man, competitor versus competitor is probably the better way of putting that. I don't know. I'm not brilliant when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But I don't play it much like that anymore. You know, I'm just constantly playing single player. Now, the one thing I am doing on the power save is the fact that I'm trying to achieve with the achievement hunter, which is where you hit every achievement. One of those achievements is the draft.
Yeah.
You have to play X amount of draft games. I'm hoping off the back of that, I will be able to then almost practice what works, what systems work, PvP, and maybe then kind of off the back of that go, yeah, maybe I'm ready to go back again. Let's try that.
Is there one else you've sought advice in relation to the PvP side of it?
To be honest, it's just a kind of an open dialogue. It's something that I spoke to Dave and Joe quite a bit. But I think for me, it was always just having the second doubt. You know, you having the doubts in so when you play against the AI, you can have a doubt on a system. You can change the system and it might not work, and you walk away losing. Okay, you may lose a cup final, you may lose a league game, you may lose a friendly, but you walk away from that and you think, "Bugger, I shouldn't have done that." Yeah. However, when you do that versus somebody else in quite a difficult format where it's quite intense, you then get the sledging, you then get they start taking the piss out of you. And it puts that added pressure on that actually maybe, do I tweak this? Because if it cocks up now, I'm going to get that. Or should I not tweak it? Because, and it really puts the doubt in your mind. And I think you've got to go in to it with a plan, with a game plan, with a system, with a team that is built for that system, and go, it's either going to work or it's not. Yeah. And you just live by the sword or die by the sword.
So in relation to your streaming showdown appearance, now, we've just witnessed you I'm not going to say steal the show because that will be unfair on everyone else who did a 10 out of 10 job. But you were stand out in relation to your punditry. You're very quick-witted. Where does that come from?
I don't know, because my dad's not funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a filter that I use while streaming. The quick wittiness is even worse when I'm not on a camera. Like some of the stuff I come out with, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that wasn't actually that funny. Strangely enough, and I don't know whether people will believe what I'm going to say. I don't think I'm that funny. I don't. It's difficult. It's difficult to try and explain it without kind of making it sound like I'm bigging myself up, but it is something that people seem to understand and find my humor funny. But yeah, quick wittiness is probably from the fact that I used to work as an electrician, going through the apprenticeship and having to get them, live with getting the mickey taken out of you every single day at work. You were kind of the wall that they used to chuck the shit at, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And I think the only way you can kind of get that back is you either sit down, you shut up and you take it, which ain't in my kind of demeanor, or you fight back. And the way you fight back is by getting in the jabs. And when you do get a jab in, you get an hard jab in, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And it was always kind of, you can't let things sit and kind of just sit and you sit on that joke for an hour and then you go back and you go, hey, you go, mate. And you're like, well, that was a while ago. So at times that's probably where I've kind of got a bit of a quick witty. But I mean, as much as you might say it's funny, it gets me in a lot of trouble when I'm out on the beers, because it is something that I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover, and I've had some situations I've been in where it may or may not ended up in fisticuffs, but for me it was like, well, we're going to try and joke our way out of this, which at times doesn't work when alcohol's mixed in, right? But yeah, I don't actually think I'm funny, but I just say what I think, and if it happens to be funny, then fantastic, right? Yeah. But it's a difficult task to do, and I think I'm not sure many appreciate how tough it is to do the lowdown and the prep. I mean, I shared a picture on Twitter that I've got the lowdown here. I've got the guys on the one screen. I've got 3 spreadsheets on one screen of past data. I've got 3 spreadsheets of data that's happened yesterday or the day before. You're trying to do all that whilst trying to be funny, which kind of means that it's more second nature than forced, if you know what I mean. Yeah. That when I do come out with something, it's not something that I've scripted or written down. It is just off the cuff, and it's not really that thought about. Yeah. But I mean, I get told it by Mr. Friday Night FM all the time that I'm not funny. So I guess I'm just not funny.
The thing is you also don't want to take away from the competitors, do you? So whilst you are being quick-witted, you still want to, you don't want to be the show, if that makes sense. And I feel like you've got that balance right when you are on the lowdown.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be very conscious that you're not. It's different, actually. The lowdown recently, or in the previous ones, have been more of a show. Yeah. And I feel that if I was to watch the showdown, I watch the lowdown. Yeah. I don't watch the individual streams. I think the content that's produced on the lowdown is the best way to consume the showdown. But for me, you've got to remember that you're sat with 3 other pundits. You're sat with the host as well. You're also sat involved in this event with 9 other guys that are playing the game, or guys and girls that are playing the game. That, yeah, you're right. It's not about trying to steal the show, but you've got to remember that we're not at a comedy club. You're not going to sit there and do joke after joke after joke after joke. That's not what people have paid for. Or, what you've got to do is it's really tough. You've got to try and balance the fact that you are giving precise, decent analysis. you are giving your opinions, because at the end of the day, that's what we're there to do, is give our opinion on stuff. People don't like it sometimes, but you can't just sit on the fence all the time and be like, oh, I think X, Y, Z, B, D will win this. No, you've got to kind of put your neck out on the line at times, and then you've got to try and follow up with decent statistics and analysis, and then you've got to try and be funny at times, and then you've got to try and, you know, and it genuinely is a hell of a juggle, you know. I think I just absolutely enjoy it. But I love it. I love doing the lowdown. It is truly amazing. It really is.
I saw a comment yesterday in the chat that basically says, petition for Doop to never be in the showdown because he needs to stay in the lowdown.
Thanks for that comment, man. Cheers. So basically the way it works, a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, is it gets announced when we're going to do the next one, which is, again, like I said, when I say we, it's the guys that do that, the team that are involved in the planning, and they say who's available, and then you put your who's available, and then you either get told you're going to do one thing or the other, you know what I mean? So to me, it's completely out of my hands. As long, if I'm available, I'm available. If they would like me, they want me, they can have me, you know. But at the end of the day, there's so many decent people in this community that you know, I don't want to, you know, we've got to let everybody have a go and everybody have a chance. There might be people that are better than me. There probably is a lot of people that is better than me. So and it's all about finding the new people, you know. So as much as petition to never let me go, I think petition to get other people in to see others have a go as well.
Yeah. So what would be your advice? So obviously the streamer showdown has just happened. So there's going to be a lot of hype in the FM community, a lot of people who've seen it and are thinking, how do I get onto the streamer showdown? What would be your advice in relation to that?
The only thing I know, the only thing I can say really is, if you are actively streaming on Twitch, the committee, the team, the showdown guys are watching, and you just got to keep doing what you're doing. And it's difficult. It's if your quality's good and you look like you're enjoying, it doesn't matter when you've got 400 viewers or 40 viewers or 4 viewers, the discussion does happen. So just keep doing what people are doing. There's some amazing content creators out there that sit on 2,000 views, that sit on 1,000 views, that sit on 10 views, that sit on 5 views. You know, there are some really, really good content creators out there. But the biggest thing I will always say, and any advice to anybody that streams to any amount of number, always imagine you got 4,000 people watching. Always imagine that there's more. I remember when I was streaming, the only time I ever concentrated on numbers was when I was pushing for partner. Yep. And I still think now, to this day now, that's the wrong thing to do, and that's the wrong thing to approach pushing for partner. You should never push for partner, in my opinion, now, as seeing it from the other side. Yep. I would always say now, just keep streaming, keep doing what you're doing, and if it comes to the fact that you could be, then you're in the position to do so, you'll know you're in the position to do so, and apply for it then. But for me, you don't need to focus on numbers, and just, like I said, just imagine there's 4,000 or 5,000 people there. And because the one thing you do see at times is you see people that are streaming and they don't have many viewers in, or there's not somebody in the chat, and they're kind of just sat here doing this with the game, and then somebody would say hello, and then they become this presenter, the streamer that you want to see. And it's like, you how many people are you switching off, and how many people are not saying hello because you're just sat there silent watching the screen playing your game? So it's one of the hardest things to do, and it's why sometimes when you first start, YouTube is easier than Twitch, because you can produce your video, you can put it out there, and it gets its views, and it gets the traction it gets. When you're live on Twitch, the difficulty you've got is trying to keep a conversation going, or keep an audience that you're not sure that's actually there. So that's why I've always said, you pretend that there's 100 people there, you sit there, you focus, and you think about it, and you go from there. Because to be honest, you're focusing on the numbers early on, you're gonna nitpick and you're gonna panic about too much stuff. So that's my main advice about any content creation that you do.
Now that's great advice, to be fair. I think it's something I learned pretty early on. So to the point where I've switched off numbers. I never know how many people are in my chat. I only know if there's people in there based on conversation and follows, if that makes sense.
It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter how many people's in your chat.
And it's made a massive difference to me and to how I am, because at times you could get kind of disheartened, can't you, as a new content creator, where one day you've got like your chat's popping off and the next day it isn't. But by switching it off.
For me, I mean, this is how much I think numbers are irrelevant on Twitch when there's, unless you were, I don't know, unless it's a sponsored stream and you've got to hit a certain amount of numbers or something like that, or you are going, you're trying to go for affiliate or partner, then, but for me, I would prefer, wholeheartedly, I'd prefer to have 10 people in my stream and have a busy chat than have 100 people and not a busy chat.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter how many people are watching, you'll perform differently. Even if 100 people are in, but there's one person chatting, you'll perform differently than if there's 10 people in and 5 people are chatting. So I would never call a lurker out. I'm a lurker. You've seen it in times in your chat. I'll pop up and say something after I've been in there an hour and you've been slagging me off. But I like to lurk because I just like, I normally have a stream on, and the problem is when I'm doing work or doing other bits and you say hello to somebody in a stream, 9 times out of 10 I've got the volume very low. So, and I can't focus on having a conversation, so I just watch along, and I just enjoy what I'm watching. So for me, lurking is one of the best things in the world, but chatting, active chatters are the best things you can have on Twitch. If you can have an active chat, you will see your stream absolutely skyrocket, because more and more people want to get involved in the conversation, and more people are happy to chat. It makes your life a lot easier, right?
Yeah, it gives you an opportunity to be you as well.
Definitely.
So what are your plans going forward in relation to your content creation?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're going to try and do the achievement hunter this year, and that's probably going to take up this year. And then next year, I really don't know, because I have a few ideas of what I would like to do and step things up, but the COVID has kind of killed it this year. I wanted to do I used to do a thing called Meet the Community, which isn't about anymore, and it isn't even on my channel anymore, unfortunately. I don't know why. I had a weird moment where I decided to remove it, but it was very similar to this. That you just kind of get to know the content, the content creator behind the content. And ever since I kind of had that running, I've always said I want to do an IRL one, where literally we arrange it and I turn up to your house and we set up a studio, like a mini studio, and do a mini podcast from your house, or you come to my house and we do it, or we meet in the middle and we find somewhere to do it. Because I feel that in our community that there's not enough face-to-face stuff that goes on. And another idea I had was to do some, like, I don't know if you've seen the FIFA guys do it before, but we've only got draft mode, right? And you can set all the stipulations you like. It's difficult to dress up draft mode and make it different. So my idea was to do like a crossbar challenge, and then and then that somehow stipulates some rules in the crossbar that if you hit a crossbar, you pick it for me or something like that, and actually have a segment of some IRL stuff followed by me then in my desk and you at your desk, and then we would then do a draft. We've done some weird stuff. So like me and Dave as a party, we did a shot for shot draft challenge, which we drafted strikers only, and every time the other person scored, the other person had to do a shot of an alcoholic spirit of their choice.
How wasted were you after that one?
Honest to God, I'm going to send you the link to the video and you need to put it in because it's one of the funniest videos ever. I deal with it a little bit better than Dave. Dave, Dave concedes very early on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of goals. We finish it at halftime basically because in the time it took between halftime, there's 11 shots between us.
Yeah.
So yeah, that ended very quickly, and I don't think that we haven't done it since. But I'd love to do an IRL one of that. Do you know what I mean? That would be tremendous. I've smashed you there, to be fair, mate.
I mean, it's a 5-4 on aggregate. That's
but you've got. I'd love to see the statistics of it. Look at my XG compared to yours.
That is true. That is true. I mean, congratulations.
Thanks, mate. That's the only reason I'm here. I'm glad I've won.
That's probably. Hang on. How have I only got 6 on target and 7 shots? Yeah. But poor management. I need to practice PvP.
It's the fact you got Huntelaar and you've taken Mo Salah off. And the fact you've come up against Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, and Lukaku and Pogba. Yeah, I picked well. Sure. How much money did you? Hang on, I had 500 million. How much did you have?
500 million. I had about.
Are you sure? I've just seen the two.
I had about 20 million left at the end. So we're coming close to the end. We've got a couple more questions. We'll just stay on this screen if you don't mind.
Yeah, no drama.
So what's is there anything you would do differently in relation to your content creation so far?
I think I'd take more risks if I could, if I was brave enough. I think at times you can really just slip into get into the routine of just doing the same thing. I genuinely I love other games. I love watching other games, but I love other games. One game that you probably wouldn't think that I love, I'm a big Minecraft fan.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, I genuinely love watching Minecraft series. I don't have the creativity to build these tremendous buildings, but I love I play the story mode on it, or I play Minecraft and play it as a story. We used to have a realm that Dr. Benji hosted that we used to play in there, and stuff like that. I genuinely do like my Minecraft. I'd love to stream Minecraft and have maybe on a weekend we'd play Minecraft, but I don't take the risk. I think it's risky me doing GeoGuessr at times, and I don't do that enough, in my opinion. I think that sometimes what you find is Football Manager content creators really do stick to Football Manager, and that can kind of lead to a burnout or two. But yeah, if I had, I wouldn't want to be a variety streamer, because I love Football Manager too much. But I think personally, I would just like to be able to take more risks. And maybe then just drop a Minecraft stream in there somewhere.
You heard it here first, folks. Doop is going to do a Minecraft stream at some point.
No,
at some point. At some point, he said.
Maybe.
Okay. And what's the best thing about being a content creator so far?
This is going to sound really hard. This is going to be difficult for me to say without flexing. Okay.
Go on.
So a couple of things is the best thing about being a content creator for me so far was being at TwitchCon was amazing. I went to TwitchCon in San Jose with teaching Curty.
Yep.
I was very lucky that it was fully paid for by my stream. So we took the stream over there, and that, honest to God, to the day that I die, I will never forget that trip. To go with the two of the guys that we'd started the whole thing with, and have absolutely a tremendous time was awesome. And secondly, when we were in TwitchCon Berlin, that we went with Teach, Curty, and Pine, I got recognised, and I just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I am Glob, a viewer of the stream. I was going up the escalator, he was going down, and he was just like, Doop. I was like, oh fuck, this is weird. Hello? Because obviously, it's the one thing was Twitch. I mean, it could be a little bit different with YouTube because people can use their logo on, or their face or whatever. There's so many people that you talk to on Twitch, and I have no idea what you look like.
Yeah. And
it's not that it doesn't bother me, but it's just it's really strange because when you're out somewhere, like I said, that I just only have there's one other time, but that was because of it was like a I knew the person a long time ago, but when he bumped into me, he kind of said Doop instead of my actual name. But this in TwitchCon Berlin, yes, we're in an area which streamers and stuff like that, but to get recognized, I was like, this is so weird. But that was probably one of the coolest things that's happened to me as a content creator. To be perfectly honest, and to be fair, I've got like a pretty cool setup that I've been very lucky again. I do work hard in my normal 9 to 5, and that's kind of my sensible money, so to speak. I then, anything that I earn from Twitch itself, or from donos or subs, I put back into the stream, mainly because it's all tax write-offs. So when it comes to doing my end of year, I'm just like, I bought so much stuff, I barely have to pay any tax. Tremendous. But it's I'm very lucky to have what I have. I probably could live up in my man cave if I had to. I have tea and coffee making facilities next to me if I needed to. I've got Sky up here. I've got, it's pretty cool. I've got some really cool lights that can change to the my voice and stuff. But it's there's being a content creator, you have an ability to. It's quite a cool thing. It's very nerdy. I've been very open about it. Not recently, probably since I went to TwitchCon in San Jose. You kind of have to be a little bit honest with people while you're going over and what you're doing, right?
Yeah. So
for me, it was always like, it's time to kind of let the cat out of the bag, and people have been so supportive. But it's very, very weird. And I've got a cousin, or my wife's cousin, Ben. He's a big Football Manager player, and like, I get a text from him, and it's just like, you were shit in the streamer showdown. Like, piss off! I get it on Twitter. I don't need to get it from you as well. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It is really cool.
If there's one, so you've given multiple pieces of advice. If there's one piece of advice you could give to a new content creator, what would it be?
So they've started content already.
Yeah, they're just going to start it.
They're just about to start it.
Yeah.
I think for me the main advice, apart from what I've already said, is yes, a lot of people, and you look at my setup, for example, having a good setup doesn't mean you produce good quality content. If you've seen mine, you know what I'm talking about. That you don't need to have all the gadgets and the gizmos, and you don't need to have the fancy lights that come on with Alexa, or you don't need all that. The only thing I will say is focus on a high quality microphone, because that is the main thing that people see. Webcams, yes, but like, you can make that small enough, and there's things you can do on a webcam that you can make it look clean enough. But for me, it's these things. These have to, if it sounds crackly or it's awful quality, people are just going to click off and not come back. So for me, the first bit of kit, if you are interested in producing any sort of content whatsoever, you've got to have a good microphone.
No, I agree. Doop, thank you so much. Personally, from me, the first time I kind of met you in the virtual world, you raided me on my birthday. And I've followed you since, and you've been nothing but nice. You've been a great content creator. You've been a great friend to an extent as well. I wouldn't say we're like football friends and all that stuff, but you know what I mean? Like, you're always available in DMs, and I speak to you regularly, and you do reach out and stuff like that. So I do really appreciate you. Thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for being so open and helpful to new content creators.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sure because he hasn't paid me to do this. I'm sure I put my link to my Twitter in the chat, in the description. If anybody has a question or two, feel free to reach out. Like, honest to God, I am more than happy to. You haven't got to like my stuff. If you've got a question about content, if you've got a question about the things I've spoke about here and what I've been through, genuinely feel free to get in touch. At times I'm really bad at getting back to people on Twitter. Just send another one. Just have another go. Just say, any chance you can give me some, point me in the right direction, I will get back to you. Not that I have lots of people to talk to. It's just that I normally open it up and go, I'll remember to kind of speak to that person later, put my phone down, and then it's later and I've looked at something else and it's gone. So yeah, feel free to hit me up. Honest to God, I'm more than happy to help in any way or shape or form that I can.
And just so you all know, all the viewers know, the link to Doop's Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, his YouTube, his Spotify podcast, his website with the WeStream FM, and the WeStream FM Discord will be in the description below.
feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
I know it's Diz, and I'm sure Diz is the same. Like, hit Diz up if you need some help.
100%.
Diz has recently done wonders in the community. He's you can see the progression that he's doing, and if he carries on doing what he's doing, he's gonna be on my podcast. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be the other way around. So honestly, Diz is awesome. Make sure you show Diz some love. I just wanted to make sure this screen come up so you can see that I beat you. That was all.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that.
But it's not about the draft, right?
It's not about the draft. No, thank you so much, Doop. I really appreciate the kind words. That's it. Thank you very much, Doop. Viewers, if you do like what you see, please like and subscribe. There's the descriptions for all of Doop's socials, all of my socials in the description below. This is episode 1 of 4 in 4 weeks. We'll have 4 scouting centres in 4 weeks, and all 4 of the guests will have been on the Streamer Showdown / the Lowdown. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Doop has been fantastic, as he always is. And please like and subscribe to the channel, like this video, and if there's anything else, I will see you next week for the next edition of the Scouting Centre. Say bye, Doop.
Bye, Doop.
Take care. See you later. Bye-bye.
See you later, man. This team that I've built is disgusting.
Same. I have no idea what it is, to be fair. I don't know what my starting 11 is.
I have Ronaldo and Messi.
Oh, have you? Oh,
Yeah.
You mean disgusting as in good? Dang, you kids.
Disgusting as in good.
You kids nowadays. When I was young, it was sick. Right. I'll ask you the next
Did you just call me a kid?
I mean, I'm 37.
Yeah, okay. I'm 28. Oh, yeah, okay.
Hey all, I really hope you enjoyed that episode of the Scouting Centre with Doop. An absolute phenomenal guest. As you can see, we covered a range of topics. For a content creator who does it all, he's not just a content creator, he's a family man, he's a full-time workman, he does Twitch, he does podcasts, he has an internet site, he's very much involved in the Football Manager community. I want to thank him so much. What a great interview it was. And at the end of it, he said to me that if I ever needed to speak to him again, or if we ever wanted a follow-up episode, he'd be more than game. So I have no doubt at some point you'll be seeing Doop Part 2. Please, if you did like this video, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. All of Doop's socials will be in the description below, as will mine. I've really enjoyed this episode. This is the first of 4 in 4 weeks, episode 1 of 4 weeks worth of Scouting Centre, all of the guests will have been on the Showdown or the Lowdown. I really hope you enjoy the content, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye bye.